As he stepped across the plaza and felt the fitted white shirt chafe against the welts that formed a geometry of desire on his skin, Nathan Scott realized that he had come home. The benign arcologies of the university campus constructed a welcoming emotional architecture that he embraced without hesitation. The rooted, massive buildings of the metropolitan institution he had attended as an undergraduate had always felt too civic, too concerned with the fabric and citizens of the city. Here and on the campus of the Middle England University, where he had completed his Masters in Administration, Nathan intuitively understood the recalibrated geometries of the contemporary institution. The traces of 60s utopianism now gave way, like a race or species ill-adjusted to evolutionary competition, to new and better configurations. As he rode to the 5th floor of the tower, he inspected his image in the polished steel surface. The waistcoat of his fitted grey suit was a little fussy, perhaps, but it was set off by the colourful angularity of his silk tie. He stepped out into the lobby and looked through the floor-length window, viewing the layout of the campus. High clouds sped across the sky from the west. The tap of her heels on the tiled floor echoed across the exposed, unused communal workspace of the new facility as Dr. Catherine Penrose left the meeting room. She caught a reflection of herself, severe in suit and high heels, in the plate glass walling of the meeting room, superimposed on the figures of Nathan and Professor Wilde, who were still deep in conference. She turned toward her office, the building tuned to the frequencies of the air conditioning units. The office was bare, with little sign of use, still less of ownership. Personal artifacts were frowned upon. The age of the cloister and cell is over, Professor Wilde had told her. The future was open and collaborative, networked, and available for scrutiny by the taxpayer. She reached under the desk for her running shoes. She intended to complete 2 laps of the campus's perimeter road before heading to her car, parked some 15 minutes away. Soon Nathan would call to join her. She retrieved her backpack and, shoes in hand, prepared to leave. The window in the office had no blind, so she would change in the central concrete stairwell. No one ever used it, preferring instead to wait for the elevator. She would meet Nathan there before completing their circuits. Brenton Wilde blew a thin stream of flavoured vapour into the cooling vent beside the window and rolled the electronic cigarette between his fingers. His large corner office, situated on the top floor of the new facility, looked out northwards over the body of the campus. He pushed the tube into his jacket pocket and returned to his desk and scrolled through Nathan's report on his tablet screen. He liked the young man and was touched by his winning faith in his master's dissertation as a thing that had won his consultancy role here. Deeper assignments ran through Nathan's work, ones that Wilde was keen to develop. Nathan was a new type of academic, emotionally but not intellectually or politically invested in the institution. Dr. Penrose, with her union activities and background in sociology, was a case study in the negotiations of old academia with the emerging formations. Wilde expected the concrete stairwell to incubate some future alignment of forces upon which he would ascend. Nathan heard, rather than felt, the cool westerly play upon the raised welts on the inside of his forearms as he stood on the elevated terrace of the cafe, looking out over the nearby motorway. Catherine Penrose stood, iced tea in hand, with her back to the motorway, leaning against the railing of the terrace. Professor Wilde had told him this morning that the first phase of the project was nearing its end, but that a pot of money had been found through which Nathan's contract would be extended. Wilde had shaken his hand like an encouraging father-in-law, as if welcoming an outsider into the family business. Nathan looked at Catherine and thought of the pills he had found in her bedside drawer yesterday. Pills he had confiscated for her own good. They would be married and would have healthy children, he knew. The children would attend the creche and the new school that they would build here on the campus for staff only. The university would care for them and fill their lives with purpose, from the beginning of the day until the end, from the cradle to the grave. The workmen were breaking ground ahead of them, in the grassy space between the cafe and the motorway. They would erect a new building here, where he and Catherine and Professor Wilde would work together. Already Nathan could feel new marks appearing on his body, new raised lines and welts extending across the white skin. Not soon, but one day in the future, Catherine's cool hands would soothe his entire torso, raised in livid, pulsating, burning flesh, and then he would know that he was truly at home.